The legislative changes to Canada's Scientific Research and Experimental Development (SR&ED) program represent the most massive expansion of the R&D tax incentive in decades. The overhaul explicitly targets scaling companies, lifting historical penalties that were triggered when a startup grew too large or decided to go public. We'll review key sections of the Income Tax Act, with updates reflecting the 2025 federal budget. Some of these changes can be very helpful, particularly as your company grows.
You can refer to the official legislation regarding the Income Tax Act directly on the Government of Canada's Justice Law's website.
Reversing a strict exclusion that had been in place since 2014, capital expenditures are officially eligible again for SR&ED claims, for property acquired and relevant leases first payable. Companies can once again claim equipment and hardware, such as R&D lab testing equipment, specialized prototyping machinery, advanced tools, and infrastructure/cloud space used 90% or more of the time for Canadian experimentation. Note: unlike current expenditures, like R&D salaries, which are 100% refundable up to the cap, the investment tax credit, ITC, earned on these capital expenditures is partially refundable at a rate of up to 40%. In an historic shift, the enhanced 35% refundable credit is no longer strictly reserved for Canadian-controlled private corporations, CCPCs. The change: certain eligible Canadian public corporations, ECPCs, can now tap into the enhanced refundable credit. The logic: this prevents high-growth innovators, especially in clean tech, AI, and life sciences, from being heavily penalized on their R&D funding the moment they go public to raise capital. The expenditure limit for the highly lucrative, enhanced 35% refundable tax credit has doubled. The change: the cap on qualifying R&D spending has jumped from the historical $3 million to $6 million. The benefit: qualifying businesses can now receive up to $2.1 million annually in cashback refundable credits, up from the previous max of $1.05 million, before any remaining expenses drop down to the basic 15% non-refundable rate. Taxable capital phase-out: the threshold where the enhanced credit begins to phase out has been raised from $10 million to $15 million, and it doesn't phase out entirely until a company hits $75 million, up from $50 million. Also, new gross revenue option. CCPCs now have the option to elect to use a 3-year average gross revenue metric, $15 million to $75 million phase-out range, rather than taxable capital to determine their eligibility limit, offering massive flexibility to capital-heavy pre-revenue tech and hardware firms. For their part, eligible public companies must use this revenue method. Thank you for watching this guide. If you have any further questions about navigating the SR&ED program, feel free to reach out or go to our website at suttoninnovation.com.